Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good middle of the night, whatever time of day it may be for you when you see this video. I'm doing a handheld here because I want to get back to what I was doing before WJHL, no kitty, just came out with this video may contain copyrighted material, the use of which has not been specifically authorized by the copyright owner. This material is being made available within this transformative or derivative work for the purpose of education, commentary, and criticism, and is believed to be fair use. Full credit goes to WJHL News Channel 11. Lead investigator for Summer Wells case speaks for first time, part 1.
Well, today, for the first time, we're learning the lead investigator in the Summer Wells case is speaking out. The pressure has been immense on the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office to figure out what happened to a little girl who reported missing back in June.
Ansley Daniel has been following this case closely. She has an update. Ansley?
Josh and Sarah, there was frustration, some anger, and the presence of a heavy burden when I sat down with the detective John Pruitt with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. He's led this investigation into Summer's disappearance. He told me that as difficult as this case is to work, he is nowhere near giving up.
It was a lot to shoulder, it was a lot to burden. We have a missing child that we haven't found yet.
Almost 10 months and so much heartache. And investigators aren't immune from that hurt. The question of what happened to Summer Wells still has no answer.
There haven't been very many cases like this. I have never worked a missing child case with all these different entities and agencies involved.
The lead investigator on the...
So I guess we as YouTubers and members of the public should not be surprised that it's the craziest thing we've ever dealt with. It's obviously the craziest thing this law enforcement officer's ever dealt with.
The case says his days are devoted to finding her.
My day, I check tip line and voicemail when I first get here. I do phone calls and follow-ups on any credible leads I've got. I follow up on anything that I didn't get to a good conclusion the day before. Then I go into my normal caseload of any new cases I've got, follow-ups on them.
They've received nearly 2,000 tips.
I will follow up on everything I can to try.
He will follow up on everything that he can. I'm glad that the lead investigator is finally speaking to us. But I honestly have a bad feeling we're not going to hear anything we haven't heard before.
Try to bring closure for this.
Self-proclaimed online investigators and social media sleuths have turned this case into a mess of ideas. And tips have come in from everywhere across the U.S. and even overseas.
No, actually, we haven't turned this into a mess. I take personal offense at that. I can tell you who's turned it into a mess. Their names are Donald Wells, Candace Bly, and Candace Harrer.
That help, Pruitt says, has led to little more than time wasted.
If these people want to help so much, we always accept applications to certified individuals.
And aren't you just the nice little smart-ass smug punk? If these people really want to help, we're always accepting applications. Yeah. And then you get them trained, and then they leave your department and go to another department because they get decent pay. Not your department, Ronnie Lawson's department. What a snide-ass remark to make to people such as myself and a great number of others who dedicate a great deal of time and have not once interfered with your investigation, sir.
He says the investigation has led to the continued thought that if Summer is found, it will be nearby.
I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by, because we found nothing to lead us to believe that she's been abducted or trafficked out of the area.
Pruitt works alongside the TBI and FBI. Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data. Almost a year into the case, and Detective Pruitt says it still remains a very active investigation.
I'm not going to let it go cold.
Well, Detective Pruitt assures that what happened to Summer Wells is still being investigated.
So he's not going to let it go cold. I appreciate that very much. Guess who else isn't going to let it go cold, sir? Responsible social media and YouTubers. Responsible. You need to learn, sir, how to separate your wheat from your chaff.
Nearly 10 months and still
Okay,
no
hang on
answers.
just a second, darlings. This is part 2 of the same interview. Here again, WJHL. I apologize for a handheld, but I didn't have time to set anything up. I wanted to get this out to those of you who are unaware. I know there are other YouTubers covering this breaking news. I don't think so. Sorry. Hang on.
Channel 11 dives deeper into the disappearance of Hawkins County 6-year-old Summer Wells. For the first time, we have heard from the lead investigator with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office.
And tonight he tells us what this investigation looks like right now.
Josh and Sarah, the case of Summer Wells does not...
I'm going to be really interested in this because he just said in part 1 he thinks she's going to be found close. Basically, paraphrasing, he thinks she's going to be found close to home because they have no signs of abduction or... Okay, let's go on.
Not look much different today than what it did when I first reported live on authorities searching out in Beach Creek back in June of last year. Now authorities are spending more time than ever before fielding through false tips as well as false hope.
It's sporadic.
Did y'all hear that? They're spending more time than ever filing through false tips. If you don't have credible information regarding this child, shut the fuck up and stay out of law enforcement's way.
One day you might get 5 leads, the next couple of days you might not get anything. But it's been an active investigation that I've been devoted to since it first occurred.
As Summer's disappearance approaches the 10-month mark,
I honestly don't mean to be so hard on this detective. I really don't. I'm sure that he is as dedicated as anyone can expect him to be. It's just that snide-ass remark he made was completely unnecessary and unfounded.
Scenarios of what happened the night of June 15th continue to grow.
The wandering away, sneaking off to go play or whatever she may have done, that is a viable option.
The night she went missing, authorities said she walked away from her house. The following day, an Amber Alert was issued.
People are probably tired of hearing this. All possibilities are on the table. We're not completely eliminating the abduction idea.
Okay, so he's basically saying it's the same story, baby dolls. Different day, same words, rearranged in a different order.
But there's nothing to lead us to believe that we need to focus on that alone.
In the height of the search, those on the ground combed through miles of tough, rugged terrain, leaving many to wonder how there was no trace of little Summer.
She was like 3 foot, 40 pounds. It would be a lot easier for her to get through some of the foliage, and she's lower to the ground, smaller body, a lot more flexible.
Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data.
We have gone through reams and reams of data, We've collected statements. We've chased down every credible lead that has been given to us. And we are still not much further along than when we started. Surveillance videos, GPS locations, cell phone tracking, cell phone data, electronic data, anything that we could think of to get our hands on.
As time continues.
So anything they can think of to get their hands on, evidence-wise, they've combed through it. It's April. Pray for grand jury.
To pass since that June day, it's increasingly hard to hold on to hope.
Over 9 months in, I would hope that she is still alive somewhere, but we also have to be open to the idea that is no longer a possibility.
Pruitt says that he has never worked a case like this with so many different entities involved, and he says it's still baffling that it looks the same as it did that night that Summer was reported missing.
And we agree, sir. Thank you, Ansley Daniel, for your continued coverage of the case of missing Summer Moon Utah Wells. You've pretty much become our go-to source when it comes to mainstream media and Summer. So thank you, Ansley Daniel. And thank you to the detective. I had hoped that this was going to contain something encouraging. Unfortunately, at least for me, it does not. So, this has been Lip Lock No More. Thank you for listening and for tolerating the handheld camera work. Thank you, WJHL, News Channel 11, for your footage and your coverage. This has been Old Lip Lock No More. Thank you for listening.